New at 6 o'clock, it's been nearly 3 years since the Carlton Complex fire ripped through Okanogan County. It was the first of 2 straight terrible fire seasons in central Washington.
Communities in that area continue to face a crisis as they try to heal. KOMO's Gabe Cohen takes us to Okanogan County.
This is home.
This was one of the vehicles that we lost.
That never changed for Chris Fleming.
Used to be a Jetta.
This is where Chris planned to raise his kids.
I still struggle with it. I still feel like there's days where it's like, what more could I have done?
In August 2015, wildfires tore through Okanogan County for the second straight summer. Like so many friends and neighbors, Chris fought the flames at his doorstep for days until he was surrounded.
Even as long as it's been, it's still kind of shocking, to see, that our house it's not here anymore.
This family now rents 2 trailers a few miles away near Okanogan. They come up here to play sometimes and search for peace 2 years later.
We were battling some pretty intense depression and unknowing, and I had no vision of our future up here.
That future has seemed uncertain for many families in central Washington. Nearly 500 homes were leveled and 1 million acres burned between 2014 and 2015. Since then, a rapid rebuild is underway.
It's been a lot of hard work.
Christine Perry's home was the first rebuilt in Pateras.
And everybody kept saying, oh, you have a beautiful house, don't feel guilty. But I looked around at all these people that didn't have houses, and I felt really, really guilty.
But her loss was no different. Her mother's engagement ring is basically all that survived the fire.
That's my family heritage. It's the only thing I have left.
It's getting better. You have to make it get better.
Ellen Brownlee returned to a lot where a dozen homes disappeared.
And sometimes you wake up and think, well, where am I? You just feel like you woke up in a new world.
Christine and Ellen had good insurance, but 72% of the displaced families from the Carlton Complex fire were at least underinsured. Now there's a crisis.
A housing shortage.
Carlene Anders runs the long-term recovery group. She says many displaced families fled the area, leaving behind empty lots. New development is tough because construction can cost more than the property is worth. And about half of the homes lost were rentals, and many of those owners chose to just cut their losses, which has a ripple effect.
Employers are looking for workers, and they come in for a little while, try and look for housing, and then they cannot find housing and oftentimes leave.
If you want this job, I'm more than interested.
Jeanette Palmer's family owns Howard's on the River, an inn, restaurant, and gas station in Pateras.
The day of the fire, I think I lost 4 kids that night that I never saw again because their house burned down.
Jeanette has 5 job openings right now, but she rarely gets an applicant to the table.
I just hired her on the spot just now.
Pateras schools face the same problem.
We had positions open, we advertised, and then we interviewed, and one of the teachers we selected, who was the prime choice, the best fit, had to turn us down because she could not find a home to live in.
Superintendent Lois Davies says they used to get a dozen applications for a job, but last year they had 3 openings and just 4 total applicants.
That's terribly frustrating.
The long-term recovery group is trying to help the community rise from the ashes. Volunteers have already built 25 houses.
They'll spread the flowing seas abroad.
This group gathered to welcome Bill Van Tassel home. He waited 3 years for 4 walls and a roof.
Thank you for sharing it with us all.
Everything burned up there. The fire took everything.
John and Kathy Boyd are still waiting, like dozens of other families. Their property near Omak is still a mess.
It's been chaos trying to figure out what we were going to do.
Right now, John's building a shelter for their trailer ahead of winter.
You come up here and, yeah, you got a place to stay, but it's not, I don't consider it my home. That's hard sometimes. It's just everything seems so temporary.
But they stayed because this is where they want to live, even if it takes another year to clear and rebuild.
It'll be very nice. We're looking forward to that.
So many families are still struggling. So many scars remain. But faith survived these fires, even on land where little else did. Like Chris Fleming's property, where the house crumbled, but the cross they built beside it still stands. And soon, there will be more.
We have decided that your home will be one of the first 2 in phase 3.
You're going to build us a new home, sweetie. We get to come back home on the property.
Hope remains their foundation. And like the luscious landscape, it continues to grow.
Can you tell them thank you?
Thank you.
In Okanagan County, Gabe Cohen, Como News.
Thank you, Gabe. The long-term recovery group says they still need volunteers to help build houses and the resources to get them done. To find out more, go to comonews.com.